I'm Jonathan Weinberg, and this is Drawing with Fountain Pens, where I talk about art and design and fountain pens. You don't have to be an artist, I think, to get something out of this channel, but you have to be interested in fountain pens. And please, as always, subscribe. It's free, and it's the best way to support what this channel is doing. We have surpassed over 700 subscribers, and that's really great. So Happy New Year to everybody. Today I'm going to talk about the Hongdian A3. What's unusual about this pen is its nib. The nib is what Hongdian calls a long blade nib, which people call really an architect nib. The grind of the nib allows you, when you write or draw with it, when you make a horizontal stroke, it's slightly thicker than when you make a vertical stroke. In most calligraphy nibs, it's exactly the opposite. When you go across, it is thin, and when you go down, it is thick. So this is kind of the opposite of that. I presume that it's called an architect nib because it is very useful for writing in block handwriting that architects tend to do on their plans. But maybe somebody, if has a comment, maybe they have another reason why it's called that. I have found this to be a really nice pen to draw with because it has just enough line variation that it gives a certain flavor to my drawing. And if you press down on it, you get a bit thicker and thinner. It really works really well for drawing. It's not my favorite for writing, I have to say, but it was very inexpensive, around $23 on Amazon, and I think it's pretty nice. It's a very elegant looking pen. It's all metal. Has a silver band here in the black. It comes in silver with gold, or silver with silver band as well. And then I've also noticed that there's a new kind of pink and green flower pattern version. I don't have those that are similarly priced. It has a nice design on the finial. It's a bit hard to show you that. Oh, there it goes. Pattern on the top. You can see that. It posts very, very well. And then you can see this pattern. It's etched diagonals, etched lines on the pen. And then the section is also metal, but it also is etched with lines, which means that it's not slippery. And the nib itself is coated with PVD, so it's kind of black, shiny, a bit hard to see here. And the nib is what makes it so interesting. It's what Hongdian calls a long blade nib. I think you can read online that there's a lot of writing about what that means and where that term comes from. It seems to come from the Japanese and then translate into Chinese and relates to swords. But basically the point is that this nib is an architect grind nib, meaning that the horizontal line is slightly thicker than the vertical line, which is the opposite of a calligraphy nib or an italic nib. And the grind in this case is quite subtle. And the pen, when you take it apart, uses a converter or an international style cartridge. And you can see it has the metal construction inside as well. It's very nice. It's not too heavy. It's not a huge pen. It's about the size of a Pilot Metropolitan. Almost exactly the same size. And I think that may be what they had in mind when they designed it, how close these two pens are in shape and size. What does the pen weigh? With the cap, it's about 23 grams. Pilot Metropolitan is at about 25.6 grams. Take the cap off, it's 15.7 grams. So how does it write? It's the Hongdian A3 long laid nib. I believe it also comes in an extra fine. This is a Waterman Intense Black. And this is Rhodia paper. It's not super wet, but it's not too dry. And here is, see, thick horizontal lines and relatively thinner lines. And that's the opposite of, let's say, an italic nib or a so-called calligraphy nib. Now, I think in terms of writing, it works best when you're doing a kind of block handwriting. That's sort of a kind of handwriting that architects have. So do a very good architect handwriting. And here it is with a cursive. And it does give your handwriting a little variety. I would say that it's not the smoothest nib, but it's not too bad. It has a bit of a drag to it. Some people actually like that, a little bit like a pencil. And as I say, I really like drawing with it. So here I'm going to do a drawing of my wonderful cat, Severus.